All right, here we go. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles now on Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Appreciate all of you for tuning in and making our coverage a part of your day. On the show today, we're diving into all of the latest Eagles offseason storylines. Could Brandon Graham return in free agency? Could the Eagles make a trade for Jalen Ramsey? We're getting into all of that and a whole lot more. But I do want to start today's show with this, and I want you to have fun with it, number one. Second of all, I need you to be honest. I was asked the other day, because I'm currently on this running streak of nearly 300 days, what my 40-yard dash time would be. And I've never really been all that twitchy or all that fast. I said a 5.1, so now it's your turn. List what you think your 40-yard dash would be down in the comment section. I'm going to go back and read all of them. I imagine we're going to have some pretty interesting responses. All right, as for what we're discussing on the docket today, Brandon Graham, is he going to be staying in Philadelphia, being that he is a legendary Philadelphia Eagle? Could the Birds trade for Jalen Ramsey? And during the NFL draft, could we see the Eagles trade up to take the stud cornerback out of Penn State and Joey Porter Jr.? But first, BG back? There's growing buzz that the Eagles will try to bring back Brandon Graham in free agency, and this is only right. Drafted in 2010, he's experienced so much in Philadelphia. The start of his career, it looked as though he was going to be a bust. Everybody wanted Earl Thomas instead of him, but then, over time, he's ended up being one of the most legendary Philadelphia Eagles of all time, and he's had a hell of a career. First round pick in 2013, not 2010, so I misspoke there. So a first round pick back in 2013. From that time on, up until this point, he has 70 career sacks. That ranks fourth in Philadelphia Eagles history. And he's coming off a career year at 34 years old for Brandon Graham. Now, because he did have a solid 2022 campaign, he's going to have suitors in NFL free agency because there are teams who are going to inquire about his services because regardless of the age, he got after the quarterback in a really impressive fashion a year ago. And he still has gas left in the tank, and he said he does want to continue to play. Now, before we dive into Brandon Graham and what he did this past year and what some people who cover the Eagles very, very closely have said about him returning, make sure you subscribe to the channel because if BG gets re-signed, whenever the Eagles make a signing, we're going to cover it here on Eagles Now, so lock us in and subscribe today. What a year it was for BG. He tore his Achilles. Some people thought this is going to be his last year. But honestly, he proved everybody wrong who was going against him. 11 sacks, that's a career high. 48 pressures, 32 quarterback hurries to go along with 16 quarterback hits. Now, Reuben has covered the Birds for a really long time for NBC Sports Philadelphia, and he did a are they going to stay or go type of segment on the website, and he thinks that BG is actually going to return, and that's on top of some of the buzz that we've been seeing here. You know BG wants to play another year. Why wouldn't he after a career-high 11 sacks in his 13th season? But it's tricky because Graham doesn't want to play anywhere else, and the Eagles don't really have the money to pay him what he's worth. And with Hassan Reddick, Joshua, and Derek Barnett all under contract, do they really need BG? We all thought that maybe he would retire after 2022 and head straight to the Eagles front office, but his play changed things up. BG has earned almost $90 million in an Eagles uniform, and if it makes sense for anyone to give the Eagles a hometown discount, it's him. Hopefully they agree on a budget deal worth a few million for 1 year, and we all get to say goodbye to Graham the right way. And I've said this about BG for a little while. Seeing him in a different uniform would be like seeing another Eagles legend, and Brian Dawkins in the Broncos blue and orange. It just wouldn't make a lot of sense. It wouldn't feel right. It wouldn't look right. So hopefully he's able to retire as a Bird. So should the Eagles re-sign Brandon Graham? Another one of our poll questions on today's show. Give me an R for re-sign in the comment section, P for too pricey. Please let me know and share your thoughts down in the comment section. As for my take on it, can't really envision Brandon Graham in another uniform. And there's no doubt he wants to chase another Super Bowl. He said after the Super Bowl defeat to the Kansas City Chiefs that we're going to be back here this year. And it's going to be an uphill battle for the Eagles to get back to the promised land once again and to return to the Super Bowl. All throughout the course of NFL history, there have only been like 7 teams who have lost the Super Bowl and returned the following season. But if there's any team that can do it, it's the Philadelphia Eagles. Next up on the show, Could the Eagles trade for Jalen Ramsey? Eagles have shown some interest before, and did the Super Bowl loss to the Chiefs with James Bradberry struggling to hold up against Juju Smith-Schuster show Howie Roseman in this front office that they need to bolster cornerback number 2 and that defensive secondary as a whole? The Eagles have made an offer for Jalen Ramsey in the past. They came in 2019 when he asked out from Jacksonville. At the time, the Eagles offered a first-round pick and a second-round pick straight up in exchange for Jalen Ramsey. And from Adam Schefter at that point, Howie Roseman was confident that the Birds were actually going to be able to land a future Hall of Fame cornerback who's gone on to have a great career. Schefter said, quote, the Eagles thought they had a chance to land Jalen Ramsey, but as we know, he ends up going to the Los Angeles Rams because their asking price was a little bit higher. We'll take a look at his numbers coming up around the corner, as well as that potential trade up for Joey Porter Jr. But first, let's tell you about today's sponsor in Cultivate. Cultivate, a free browser extension that brings transparency to your Amazon shopping experience. Cultivate shows you the brand, seller, or product origin and identifies local alternatives that support local community efforts while saving you money. With over 50% of Amazon U.S. sellers based in China, Cultivate offers a way to avoid trickery from these sellers and keep money in the U.S. economy. Cultivate offers alternatives that are on average 30% less expensive than Amazon without any additional costs, such as Amazon Prime. It can even identify local alternatives that you can pick up the same day. Cultivate users earn free donations as rewards for using the extension, and the more you use it, the more you earn in donations by increasing your level. In fact, Cultivate donates 51% of the revenue they make on your purchase. So, to the Bird Gang out there, what are you waiting for? Head to wecultivate.us/chatsports. Download Cultivate for free. I have it on my Chrome extension right now. And let Cultivate bring transparency, savings, and community support to your Amazon shopping journey. Support the show. Download it with our link. We're going to put it down in the comment section, and we're going to put it in the description of this video. As for what Jalen Ramsey was able to do in 2022, at points this past year, he was burnt toast. At points, to me, when I watched him very closely, he didn't look to be all that motivated, and he really did struggle at times in coverage. Now, Darius Slay has one more year left on his contract, and a lot of people have made some interesting points in saying that they think that the Eagles, instead of letting James Bradberry go, they should instead trade Darius Slay, re-sign James Bradberry for a fraction of the price, and then maybe bring somebody else in and do something like that. Do we not have those numbers for Jalen Ramsey? I'd put him at the top of the sheet. But so Ramsey did struggle a little bit, which is very, very interesting for him because he's paid as one of the highest paid cornerbacks in the NFL. And for Jalen Ramsey, for a long time, he has played some premier football. And my take on this, to those saying that the Eagles can't really afford him, contract restructures are a thing. Howie Roseman has certainly specialized in that. And Howie Roseman is an absolute genius when it comes to really finding ways to manipulate the cap and go through some of those numbers that can be altered in a way to make him team-friendly. As for what Ramsey did in 2022's coverage snaps here, when he was targeted, allowed a completion percentage of 63. That's not good for one of the highest-paid cornerbacks in the NFL. 659 yards. He gave up 5 touchdowns and a quarterback rating of 85. And his Pro Football Focus grades, somewhat surprising because PFF does watch every single snap, and his grades actually check out pretty solid. 86.4, run defense 91.8, pass rush 91.1, even though you obviously want him to be a back-dropping cornerback, and his coverage grade at 78. So, again, you go back to my take here, a lot of people will say Eagles can't afford him. With contract restructures, you can. Howie Roseman is a genius when it comes to the book. So, if you had your choice at cornerback number 2, who would it be? Would it be James Bradberry, type JB? Would it be Jalen Ramsey? Type JR. Comment down below. I want to see where the people are at. Fly Eagles fly, right down to the comment section. Lastly, let's round out today's segment with this. Could the Eagles trade for Joey Porter Jr. and trade up for him in the upcoming draft? Bleacher Report listed a trade up for Porter as a dream trade scenario for Philadelphia this year. And I've continued to say, I really like Joey Porter Jr. as a player. When I watched him at Penn State, kind of gave me some Richard Sherman vibes, although he might be a little bit more athletic than Richard Sherman. Plays with swagger, plays with toughness, plays with physicality. He can jam receivers at the line of scrimmage, but he does have that speed to also catch up to them if he initially gets beat or maybe whiffs on that press coverage. And the numbers here in 2022 under defensive coordinator Manny Diaz with the Nittany Lions, really, really impressive. 254 coverage snaps. He allowed 0 touchdowns, 10 forced incompletions, and a passer rating paltry, 59.1. And his coverage stats, you take another look at it, this is according to Pro Football Focus, so they actually gave him another pass breakup, 0 interceptions, 11 pass breakups, 143 yards given up as a whole, and a completion percentage, has to be said, of about 50. And here's the thing about Joey Porter Jr. Bleacher Report may have listed him as a dream trade scenario. I don't know if you need to trade up to get Joey Porter Jr. I think that you might be able to get him at number 10. Now, here's what BR had to say about that subject matter. While trading down could also be an option for the Eagles, they should be more interested in moving up to secure the prospects they covet the most. The Eagles' Super Bowl window is open now, and in an ideal round 1, they'd land 2 instant impact starters for their defense. I like the philosophy there of the Eagles maybe letting a James Bradbury walk, maybe letting a Fletcher Cox walk, and then you replace them with 2 rookies at 10 and number 30 who can be impact starters right from the jump. I think that Joey Porter Jr. can start as a rookie. Then at number 30, if you get a defensive lineman, or at number 10, if you get a defensive lineman, D-tackle or edge, and then you go corner at number 30. I think with both of those spots, you could have some rookies who play right away. And according to the buzz coming out of the Eagles locker room and out of that organization, they absolutely love Jordan Davis, and they're really high on him as well. So with that, let's ask you this. Which positions will the Eagles target in the first round? As of right now, pick at number 10, pick at number 30.